You know, it's been a minute since I've caught up with Rez from VM, Rezworth Burchenson. He's the CEO of Victoria Mutual Investments Limited. I wonder what they've been up to lately. Let me go grab a cup of coffee with him and let's get this money.
Hey Kalila, how are you doing?
Hey Rez, it's been a minute.
Long time.
Yeah.
Let's have some coffee.
Good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh, this looks so good.
Thank you very much.
It's good. So Rez, it's been a minute since I've seen you. We have a lot of catching up to do.
It's been a long time. Lots of news on the VML fund. Willing to share?
Lots of news on the economy too. So the Delta variant is now here too. What's your outlook for the economy right now?
Okay, I think the economy is rebounding. When you look at the tourism arrival numbers, much better than last year. The construction sector still very active. So I think 2021 will be a much better year than 2020, and we are certainly advising our clients to position themselves accordingly in the various asset classes for that rebound when it comes.
Yeah. So what about vaccinations? How much of a role will that play, you think?
I think the pandemic will depend on the extent or the speed of which we are vaccinating. You've seen the various pronouncements globally in Jamaica and international regarding the fact that encouraging persons to be vaccinated, because that's currently the biggest weapon we have against the COVID virus. So, we're encouraging persons to listen to the literature and make up their minds, but that return to the new normal is much depends on the vaccination efforts.
Yeah. So there has been a lot of optimism for the second half of the year based on the pace of vaccinations, among other things. Now it's a little bit more uncertain because of Delta.
Agreed.
But for the first half of the year, VMIL performed quite well. Tell me.
Yes, we're certainly pleased with our performance. Last year, as you know, the virus hit about March. So our first quarter numbers last year, subpar. Second quarter, we recovered. This year, I think we're off to a very good start. To use an Olympics analogy, a Shelley and Fraser Price start out the blocks. We're very encouraged by that. And we're doing a lot of business development so that we can have a even more stellar performance for quarter 3 and quarter 4.
54% increase in net profits. To what do you attribute that?
Well, 54 isn't excellent, based on the potential of this business, the team members that we have very talented, our capital base, being a part of the Victoria Mutual Group.
But 54 in a pandemic
I will
is
take
really
it.
good.
I will take it, but I'm saying the business has a lot more upside than 54%. The first half performance is attributable to performance across all businesses, whether it be asset management performance. Our unit trust portfolios grew quite substantially. Our treasury business did very well, which is the net interest income business. Our bond and equity trading business, stellar performance. Because what we saw last year is that a number of investors kind of stayed to the sidelines, trying to see what was happening. With the economic outlook looking a bit more prosperous, we're seeing investors coming in and trying to buy underpriced assets, bonds being just one. So our bond trading business, very good. And our capital market business, lots of business development activities, not where we would like it to be for the first half of the year, but we are expecting a stellar performance for the second half of the year. So all around, a fair performance. Certainly looking forward to the second half of the year, because the second half of the year, we believe that the economic conditions will be, much more supportive to our business.
So I do note where 54% great, but you're not entirely satisfied because there is so much more potential. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure that part of that too is because the quarter ended June wasn't as great as the previous quarter. As a matter of fact, you were down 15, almost 16% for the quarter ended June 2021 compared to 2020. So sure. What happened in that quarter?
Okay, so our numbers aren't linear. We don't earn our income throughout the year, evenly throughout the year. So we're very aggressive in the first quarter. We kind of pared back in the second quarter, especially in the bond trading business. But we expect third quarter to be equally stellar into fourth quarter.
Okay. So talk to me about the real estate portfolio, because you're now back at the number 1 spot. So tell me about that.
Okay, so as you know, for 2018 and 2019, our real estate fund was the #1 fund in Jamaica. We stumbled last year, and we said to the team, we really need to own this space, and the team did some portfolio changes late last year, and for the first 6 months of the year, we're at 5.8%, and
that's the return.
That's the return, and to me, that's stellar performance. We're in a space that is very competitive. So we're not in the real estate development space. We're in a safe spot where the properties that we invest in are marquee buildings in the business district. And how we earn is we earn via capital appreciation of those buildings, or earn versus rental income.
Okay.
And the first half of the year, we've been blessed. Certainly looking forward to an equal performance for the second half of the year.
Real estate is a really hot industry to be in right now.
It is.
When you say marquee buildings, give us some that we might recognize.
Okay, so the VM building on Northford Boulevard, right in the middle of Northford Boulevard.
Everybody knows that one.
Exactly. The towers on Dominica Drive, we own that. The VM property in Fairview, Montego Bay, we own that also. And we have signed to purchase another building, which hasn't closed yet, but I'm eager for it to close so we can make the announcement.
Can you say where?
It's in Montego Bay, and that property will give us exposure to a segment of the market to which we are currently not exposed. So we're certainly looking forward to making that announcement.
So you also deployed more capital to listed companies, and KP REIT is one of them that comes to mind. So tell me what's going on there.
Okay, no problem. So we have always said that Victoria Mutual Investments Limited, when we went to market, that our role is to propel businesses to move to the next level. So if you're small, to move to medium; if you're medium, to move to large; if you're large, to take on the Caribbean, so to speak. And we've always been, seeking out opportunities, seeking out ways that we can add value to these respective businesses. So last quarter, we had an arrangement with KP REIT. They certainly wanted a bridge loan. They've been very acquisitive in the real estate space in the region. They wanted a bridge loan, and we stepped up to the plate, and we provided a bridge loan for $700 million. And there are other things that they certainly want to do, and we want to play certainly a greater role in that business. And one of the things that a number of investors are not aware of is that the Victoria Mutual Wealth Property Fund actually owns 40% of KP REIT. So there's some synergies that certainly between our property fund and KP REIT. So we're looking forward to further collaboration in the future.
So that's the same property fund that's with the unit trust?
Exactly, same one. So we invest in buildings, but also invest in listed real estate vehicles, and KP REIT is just one.
Okay, so that's a good reason to buy into the property fund unit trust.
Exactly. And the KP REIT, their stock price has been doing very well.
It has.
Certainly, the board of that company, they have done a lot of restructuring over the years, and we're seeing the value of those decisions coming forth in 2021.
A very simple way to get involved in real estate, add real estate to your portfolio.
Exactly.
So you also had some involvement with Jam Teas?
Exactly. So one of the things that we say to corporate Jamaica is you really want to talk to us regarding your expansion plans, because we have a number of products that are very flexible, very timely in terms of execution, in terms of getting to the cash, and we believe that those products and services can add value to those organizations. For some of these companies, they want a margin loan, or they want some facility to capitalize on opportunities. Mm-hmm. There are our solutions. We have various solutions, but one that we have, which is a margin loan product, gets you to a solution within a week. So on a Monday morning, you could call our capital markets division and say, we have an opportunity that I want to capitalize on. As long as we do the requisite screening and we find the appropriate collateral, marketable securities, we can get you disbursed within a week. And so we're very encouraged by that facility. We're very pleased by our turnaround time.
That's a really great turnaround time.
Excellent in this market, when principals, CEOs, CFOs really have to be on the ball regarding capitalizing on opportunities. And opportunities, whether it be to buy real estate, whether it to buy stocks, or whether it is to expand the business, we can provide that level of financing.
So the margin loan is what you did for Jamties?
Exactly.
Oh, I see. Well, definitely something to consider for those of you in corporate. I heard, a little birdie told me that you got a triple B plus rating from Chris. Is that true?
No, that's not true. The little birdie told me we got an investment grade rating. It sounds better than triple B, right? So we're investment grade, and we're very pleased and we're very encouraged about it. When we went into the conversation with Chris, we're a bit reluctant. I mean, so, in as much as we're confident in our balance sheet, we're a bit worried about the rating, but the rating simply validated the business strategies. It validated our risk management module. It validated so many things about the business that the business is headed in the right direction. And to have an investment grade in a pandemic period certainly says a lot about the stewardship of the business, whether it be by the board, whether it be by the executives, by the management team. And we have plans to leverage that investment grade rating to further grow the business. And in a few weeks, we'll have some announcements around it.
Nice.
Because we certainly, have to capitalize on that access to capital that an investment grade rating provides to allow us to further grow the business. So
that's a big deal. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. And we're very encouraged.
Yes, not everybody can get investment grade, Jamaica fighting for investment grade overall, the country. Every time I talk to you, Rez, we talk about the plans for overseas market. So where are we on that? And I say we because I feel like we're family now.
Sure. No, we're indeed family. So the overseas expansion is a pivotal part of the strategic imperative of the organization. Unfortunately, sometimes an overseas acquisition will take a lot more time than management and resources that management would have anticipated. Nonetheless, we're committed to that strategy. A bit discouraged that we haven't signed just yet, but I'm encouraged that the transactions or deals in the pipeline, that we will certainly land one of these deals to the benefit of the organization. And deal selection is also very important, especially for overseas markets, because you really have to play from a position of strength. You have to leverage the competence that you have in Jamaica when you go to overseas markets. So we're looking at whether it be leverage our capital market expertise, whether it be our asset management expertise, whether it be our bond trading expertise, to look at how we can synergistically leverage those competencies as we head into overseas markets.
So what timelines are you looking at now?
I think the last time we met, I told you Q2. I'm going to say by the end of the year, I'm encouraged that something will likely materialize.
What would it be? What are you looking to open an office somewhere? Or what?
I think that all the options are on the table, whether it be to open an office, whether it be to partner, or whether it be for an outright acquisition. We're very flexible when it comes to the options that are available. And, we're going to enter each negotiation with an open mind, as long as, knowing that our fiduciary responsibility is to provide value to our shareholders in all that means.
Well, that diaspora market, like we said last time, is hungry for anything Jamaican, and especially financial products.
Sure. So the overseas expansion to us is in the Caribbean, which we haven't landed yet. But to speak about the diaspora, the 3 million Jamaicans that live outside Jamaica are eager to reinvest or invest in Jamaica.
I heard you had a blitz in New York.
We've had a blitz in New York, we've had a blitz in Orlando. I think our next trip is to the UK, because every time we engage Jamaicans overseas, we're overwhelmed by the level of interest that they have in the investment products, whether it be stocks, whether it be bonds, and just to talk about the opportunities locally. Because as you know, the interest rate environment overseas is quite low. So all Jamaicans are looking at, how can they maximize their returns? So they're certainly looking at Jamaica to say, well, where are the underpriced stocks? how can I get involved in real estate, whether it be direct real estate or through a property fund. So, I believe that the range of services and products that VMworth that we offer certainly is suited to the diaspora market.
Yeah, and I love that you communicate with your customers and even non-customers as well. So you have your VM Wealth Talks, you have your newsletter that you send out, and you're now venturing into podcasts. You're doing a whole lot, man.
So kudos to the customer and brand team. What we know is that a lot of Jamaicans are eager to learn about investments. They're a bit shy, but they're eager to learn. And our responsibility is to touch as many persons as possible, to expose them to, let's call it the wonders of investments, how investments can transform their lives and the life of their family and friends. And that's our responsibility. Our responsibility is to go and to say, let's talk. Where you invested, and to say, well, how do you realign your investment portfolio, investment dollars to maximize value for yourself and your family over the medium term. So we're not promising a quick fix mechanism. We're not promising, road to riches in the short term. But what we do know, based on the evidence, based on the data, is that if you invest in wealth creating products for the long term, if you're disciplined, if you're focused, if you have the resolve, that and invest in the right products, that over time your investment portfolio will reward you accordingly, whether it be stocks or real estate.
100%. 100%.
So a lot more Jamaicans have to hear that message.
Right.
Because too few know that message. When I consider how the equities market have done over the past 5 years, and I say, how many Jamaicans participated in this wealth creation machine for the past 5 years? Too few.
Number one stock exchange in the world, 2018.
Exactly, too few. So our responsibility
is
to spread that message.
So what's the podcast called?
It's called VM Wealthwise. And I encourage persons, if you haven't listened to the episodes, please go on. It's very informative. We're talking about current events. So much as how our VM Wealth Talks would have a speaker, but it would be in video format.
Right.
The Wealth Talks is an audio you can download on your way to work, in the gym, when you're walking. You can certainly engage, listen, and be informed, but also take action. Don't only listen and don't take action. We want persons to take action, to call us to say, well, I've heard that this product or this market is hot and trendy. I certainly want to participate in that investment opportunity for the medium term.
So before you go, Rez, I like to see when companies are involved in the community, when they have some level of corporate social responsibility. Last time you told me about the 5K runs that you all had been doing. You've also been heavily involved in education. So tell me about what VM has done in the education space.
Sure. Well, before I say that, the Corporate Governance Committee of the board, headed by Director Milton Samudo, really charged the Corporate Governance Committee to come up with some pillars regarding how it is that would engage in our CSR. Those pillars were leadership, youth empowerment, nation building, education, and the environment. So every quarter when we approach CSR, there's a framework that we use to approach CSR. Education, as you know, is pivotal. So we are doing a number of things. Actually, there is something else which we're going to launch in Q3. Very excited about that, to kind of lift the brand. But we are engaging in terms of internships, to say to UWI students or UTech students, initially very limited. In as much at VMworth, in as much as you're learning some of these theoretical concepts in school, we want to provide an opportunity, an internship,
to apply
where you come into the organization, engage the managers, and put to practice some of these theoretical concepts, because it will make you a lot more marketable when you matriculate.
That's excellent.
Thank you.
That's excellent. So how much have you done?
We have done one thus far, but the plan is to certainly accelerate it each and every year. Remember that there are 5 pillars. So in as much as education is important, we're also focusing on some of the other pillars. So
last but not least, tell me about the stock. How's the stock doing?
Well, I don't watch the stock, and oftentimes, whenever I speak to shareholders, they all engage around the stock price.
Yeah.
The stock price is an outcome. My responsibility of the board, responsibility of the management, responsibility of all the team members at VMwealth is to deliver and focus on driving the results. And the stock price, as I've seen over my years in this business, the stock price will reward us as long as we continue to excel. If we continue to grow our net PAT by 54%, the stock price will follow in lockstep. So I'm going to focus on what I need to focus on, and the market will reward us accordingly. But the business has a lot of potential. We're doing a lot of things to transform the business, to make us a lot more efficient, to build a brand around VMwealth. And, we're executing on the strategy. We have a balanced scorecard that we use to kind of track our performance. And, we're very results oriented. We're very customer obsessed. And we believe that's what we need to focus on.
Well, it was great catching up, Rez. Thanks for the coffee.
Sure. Anytime. Cheers.
All right. And of course, you can catch up with VM by emailing wealthinfo@myvmgroup.com. Also, check out the podcast, right?
Exactly.
VM Wealthwise on all podcast streaming platforms. And on YouTube, of course, there's VM Wealth Talks every 3 months or so. I'm Kalila Reynolds. Let's get this money.
Let's get this money.